Hi, welcome to today's session of Every Mark Matters with Mr. McDonald. Today we're having a look at Edexcel History, Paper 2, the American West. And our chosen question of the day is simple. Explain the importance of sheriffs and marshals for law and order after 1876. So let's begin by breaking up this question. So obviously our command phrase is explain the importance. As always, with this particular question, it is basically an explain why. In essence, it is explain why sheriffs and marshals are important for law and order after 1876. Easy. It's really simple, that. So again, let's have a quick look here at our focus. So I'm going to do that down here in this corner. And obviously that, our focus of this question is sheriffs and marshals for law and order. So why don't you spend a moment now just annotating the term focus with what relevant knowledge do you already have that you can withdraw from your long-term memory that's relevant for this question. And the reason why you do this is because what you're creating now is you're creating maps of knowledge, and you're connecting your knowledge in your long-term memory and bringing it into your working memory, and it helps you prepare for what you're about to do today, and more importantly, it helps you prepare for the real thing. So press pause and spend a little time now thinking about the focus. What knowledge do you have about sheriffs and marshals that would make them important? Have a go. Okay, welcome back. So I went away there and I brushed up a little bit on my knowledge here. So firstly, sheriffs and marshals, well, obviously they're brought in to sort of deal with law and order. So obviously we have the reduction of vigilantes, don't we? So they are hopefully going to reduce. Hopefully, all right. There's going to be less vigilantes if these guys are doing their jobs well, and this is after 1876. So what you can do is we can begin to think about what other relevant knowledge might be useful, maybe examples. So obviously we can use, although he's not necessarily a sheriff or a marshal, we can use Billy the Kid's story, and we can specifically refer to Pat Garrett versus Billy the Kid. Now remember, Billy the Kid is an outlaw. He killed 21 people after the Lincoln County War as he goes on a bit of a rampage, and he escapes jail loads of times. But what we're really going to be talking about here is Pat Garrett. You know, he actually is a marshal. And even though that the people of the West love the Billy the Kid because of the whole story behind it, you know, he does his job, supposedly. And on top of that, whilst we're referring to other people, what we can do is we can refer to other individuals like Wyatt Earp and the shooting at the OK Corral. If we don't want to talk about individuals, and we don't want to refer to Wyatt Earp and Pat Garrett, and we want to stick along the sort of the theme of the vigilante sort of generic concepts, well, remember, you know, we do have these massive problems. I'm going to do it in capital letters. Problems that they have, and again, you've got massive territory. Territory. They're really corrupt, aren't they? We also have the fact that they are, well, you know, they're not very well trained. I was trying to think of a kind way to say that. Not well trained. Okay, so our second order concepts with this particular question are SOC. That is importance. All right. So in essence, all you need to do is to make sure that your importances or your explanation are directly tied into what the question is asking you to do. Is you need to use phrases like this was important, because you need to make sure that throughout your entire thinking here is that you're referring to importance. So if we think about, we've looked at the 3 components there. This is an 8-mark question, which means you need to spend 10 minutes and you're going to write down 2 paragraphs. If we think about the mark scheme, what does the mark scheme wanting us to do? So we are assessed in AO1 and AO2 with this particular question. What we're going for is we're going for success criteria. AO1 is your knowledge. AO2 is your explanation. So if we have a quick go, so our level 3, again, I've mentioned these before, but your answers will be scored or graded in level 1, 2, 3, and 4. That a level 3 does not mean a grade 3. Likewise, a level 4 does not mean a grade 4. But if you're consistently scoring level 3 across the board, it means you're knocking on the door of 5, 6, and 7s. If you're consistently scoring level 4 throughout your entire papers, that means you're going for 8 and 9s. So let's have a quick think about here then. So in terms of our knowledge, level 3, that just means that you've got 2 precise facts. And this technique, the reason why I like to link this in and explain that it is basically just an explain why is because the exam board wants the exact same from it. Alright? And it really is an explain why, and I don't know why they haven't just said explain why something is important. But what's really key here is that the skills for this question is the same for an explain why in other papers, and more importantly, it's the same on how far do you agrees as well. And again, let's just have a quick look here. So level 4, level 3 is 2 facts per paragraph. Level 4 is 2 precise facts per para. In terms of our explanation, what we're going for here is if we want level 3, that's basically 2 sentences. And as you know, that's how and why. If we're going level 4, that's 3 sentences. And that is how, why, so what. And again, I just want to define what that means. So if I'm just going to define how, why, so what, because I'm really conscious that you might not know what I mean by that, is how did X, and X is your reason, lead to, let's go Y. How did X lead to Y? So in this instance, it might be the outcome or the consequence. Your why is why did X lead to, probably should have chosen a better letter, but hey ho. And then finally, so what? And because this is an importance question, what that means is dead easy, is what you can do is you could just simply say, why is it important? Why is it, or why is X important? And that is what we call, as examiners, analytical thinking. And of course, you don't need to do all of this for your actual real exam. You just need to get stuck into writing. But I just want to demonstrate to you how we get top marks on questions like this with your how, why, so, what's, and your 2 precise facts per paragraph. So this is a 10-minute question. Press pause on the video and time yourself now having a go at explaining the importance of sheriffs and marshals for law and order after 1876. 10 minutes. Get started. Okay, welcome back. So I'm hoping there that you've spent 10 minutes explaining the importance of sheriffs and marshals for law and order after 1876. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read through my answer now, and I'm going to go back to our success criteria that we wrote a moment ago or 10 minutes ago. And as I'm reading through it, I'm going to self-assess my own work to determine, am I level 3 or level 4 in terms of my knowledge, or am I level 3 and level 4 in terms of my explanation. So I'm going to suggest you do the same. Let's have a quick look here. And as always, I'm really conscious of my terrible handwriting, so I'm going to read it out to you as I'm going through it. So, paragraph number 1. One reason why sheriffs and marshals were important for law and order is because they reduce the need for vigilantes. Right, perfect. There's my AO2. Okay, so what I've done there with my point is I've presented a reason. Alright, and that is AO2 because I'm presenting a reason. I'm hoping to explain it later on, but I presented the reason straight away. Vigilantes were ordinary people who took the law into their own hands, which added to the culture of violence. Right, so there's AO1. So what I've done is I've simply defined what a vigilante was. As a result of the use of sheriff's deputies and marshals in these areas, vigilantes were relied on less and less as law enforcement were elected by the people to stop crime. Okay, wowzers, right, so I've got my as a result there. So there's my evidence. And again, what I've done is I've simply just gone straight into explanation, because there's my how. Well, how did it lead to reducing the need for vigilantes? Well, they don't need a vigilante if they can vote for them. You know, what's the point of being a vigilante if people vote for their own sheriff? This shows that sheriffs and marshals were important after 1876 as they reduced crime from happening rather than vigilantes making crime much worse. And there's my why. Okay? So I hope you're thinking what I'm already thinking here, is that I'm missing something here and I'm missing something here. Okay? So let's carry on anyway, and let's see if anything changes. Another reason why sheriffs and marshals were important for law and order was because of Pat Garrett's role in the crimes of Billy the Kid. Okay, right, so there's my AO2 again, just like before, is I've presented the reason, and what I've done is I've used Pat Garrett again, and I'm hoping now that I'm going to go into adding in loads of knowledge here about Pat Garrett. For example, Billy the Kid's role in the Lincoln County War, right, so AO1 plus, led to the deaths of 21 people, including 3 members of law enforcement. AO1 plus. AO1 plus. Okay, I'm happy now. Including 3 members of law enforcement, and led to Pat Garrett's pursuit of the gunslinger. Right, so there is my first evidence. I also know that Billy the Kid escaped from jail 3 times. AO1 plus. Leading to Garrett's chase/pursuit across the American West, ultimately leading to Garrett shooting Billy the Kid in 1881. Right, so there's my second bit of evidence. So already this second paragraph is loads better than the first paragraph. All right, and the reason why it's so much better so far, I've not read the rest of it yet, but the reason why it's so much better is there's plenty of AO1, but, and by that I mean there's two facts per paragraph, but there's loads of precise knowledge in there. And again, I've presented my reason here, is that it's Pat Garrett's role in the crimes of Billy the Kid. Let's have a look at my explanation. This shows the impact of the role of sheriffs and marshals as Pat Garrett successfully dealt with the crimes of Billy the Kid. Right, so there's my what, there's my how. This is important for the law and order in American West as it demonstrates to other people in the towns the consequences of their actions and acts as a deterrence. Right, there's my why. Now I'm wondering here, I'm not so sure about that. I think that might actually be my so what. This shows the importance. Yeah, there's my why. So, and just to clarify, I'm saying why the impacts or why the role of sheriffs and marshals is significant here. This is important. Again, why? And that's definitely not why. That's certainly how. I've said how there, so how did X lead to Y? This is important because, so I'm missing a step here. Let me just have a quick look at my first paragraph, at my back end of my first paragraph. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, right. So what we'll see here is there's a bit of a theme developing here where in my 10 minutes, of panicking, this is a really good example of something that's possibly on the border. So if I were to go straight back to my success criteria, and I'm just going to go up to the top of my page here. So first and foremost, have I got 2 precise facts? Well, in my first paragraph I haven't. In my second paragraph, I've got loads of precise facts. So this is really difficult. Alright? So what will happen now is the examiner, if you've done something similar to me, now that first paragraph isn't bad, I will explain that to you. Alright? And I really just want to clarify that it's a good answer, and if you're a student that, or if you're a candidate that writes something like that, there's certainly nothing wrong with it. But as we're going for level 4 across the board, it's really difficult, and I would say that we're probably at the borderline. So as examiners, we're told to be kind to you, but I'm going to be harsh to myself, and I'm going to be harsh, and I'm going to put level 3 plus. And the reason why I've put level 3 plus is I'm referring to the deaths of Billy the Kids, 21 people, 3 members, Pat Garrett, and so on. Alright? That's me being really harsh. To really emphasise here, as examiners, we're told to be kind, so it probably would be a level 4, although I'm not very happy with that first paragraph. Alright? Let's have a little look at my explanation. So my explanation here is okay. Alright? So, are there 2 sentences? Yes, there absolutely are. Are there 2 sentences in both paragraphs? Yes, there absolutely are. So in which case then, this would be level 3. Okay? And the reason why is because I've done how and why here, and I've missed out my why in this one. I've just gone how and so what. Alright? Now, again, this isn't a bad answer. What this basically means is 6 out of 8. Ideally, what we're going for is, obviously we're going for 8 out of 8. So how would I improve that? So I need to add in a so what for this paragraph, and I need to add in a why for this paragraph, and that will push me up to 8 out of 8. Alright? It's not necessarily a bad thing to get 6 out of 8. The reason why is because if you are consistently scoring level 3s across the board, then you certainly knocking on the door 5, 6, 7s, if not the top end of a 6, 7. If you're going level 4s across the board, you are going for 8s and 9s. And realistically, if you're dropping 1 or 2 marks on a question, that is something to be expected. But if you want to spend time now reviewing our success criteria together and self-assessing our own work or your own work, and I look forward to reading it in person. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Goodbye.